In today's video, we're going to answer one specific question. Can a modern diving watch be a collectible? And we're going to do this with the completely new Bühlmann Decompression 02. So stay tuned, buckle up, and enjoy the rest of the video. Here on AM Casa, I don't talk a lot about diving watches because they're not my bread and butter, but anyhow, they are kind of the cornerstone of the watch diet. If you look at basically any watch brand, you have an 80% chance to find a diving watch in their catalog, and usually, or at least often, it's also the one you end up buying, the one that the mass market is gonna buy. Why? Because they became very much embedded in our society, because diving watches solved an issue, which was water resistance. They were basically the main character of the whole marine exploration, which was a huge topic back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. We have one specific watch with a crown on its head that became so successful and so iconic. We all know about it, and it's basically synonymous with the most important brand of them all. But in all this chaos, in all this beauty as well, there are very many similarities, with all honesty. So what is a diving watch? There's not an exact definition for what I know, but what is a diving watch for the majority of the people, I think we can answer by saying it's basically a dark color dial watch, usually, featuring, usually once again, a rotating bezel that usually rotates in one direction only. It has a scale of some sort, usually a 60 minutes scale on it, to keep track of your diving, of course, and it is water resistant, so it's often synonymous with a kind of bulky case, we can say, so no exact super thin watch. I'm sure you all have one watch in your mind when talking about all this, but today we're here to discover something completely new. So if you take a diving watch, once again, on the market, it usually will be a watch such as the one I just described, but my friends at WatchAngels, in particular Mr. Guido Benedini, who is now a friend and is someone I interviewed in the past, so go watch the video with the link you'll find here. Well, they have such an interesting project, and I'm not saying this out of interest, whether economical, friendship, whatever. I'm really fond of that, because WatchAngels is a different kind of animal when it comes to limited editions, because they do things with thought. They really have a meaning behind the watches, and they do at least a huge, if not all, the habillage on the watch, meaning case and all that. So it's really a different way of building limited editions and so on. And there's another important part. So WatchAngels is one topic, because this is a limited edition of 575 watches, such as the water resistance on the watch. But there is also all the aspects about Bulman. So what is, or who was, Bulman? Both questions are correct. So Mr. Bulman, Albert A. Bulman, was a very important physician active in the second half of the 20th century, specifically at the University of Zurich, and he was very much involved with all the hyperbaric developments, so the building of the chamber and so on. Why? Because he was very much passionate, and he dedicated his life to the diving sciences. So everything around diving, which leads us to decompression, which is the name of the watch, 02, because it's the evolution of the 01, but also because decompression is the actual medical topic about diving. I'm not sure if you know, but if you're a diver, you do know that when you reach a certain depth or a certain time of your diving, you will have decompression issues. So you will have to care about how to decompress. Otherwise, you will have issues with your actual health. I don't want to over-explain as the watch is complicated. The topic is complicated, and if you're not passionate about it, I'm sure you will skip that part, and I don't want this. I just want you to hear a different story, the way I would have loved to hear it myself if I was watching a video. So we're here today to discover what is the Bühlmann Decompression 02. As I said, Albert A. Bühlmann was a physician, but he is mostly famous for the ZHL16, which is a decompression model. So we have mathematics involved in it. He is basically the father of the decompression charts and of the algorithm and everything around decompression that led to the diving computers, digital instruments that I actually use when I dive, which is rarely now, unfortunately, but he really led the foundation for all of that, and his name is very much associated and very much important in this field, so much that it became a watch brand dedicated to diving tools more than diving watches. So when you look at the Bühlmann Decompression 02, I am sure you should look at it in a different way than when you look at a random watch. Why? Because I think this is not just a timepiece. It is much more a mechanical instrument that serves as a backup to your diving computer when you're an actual pretty dope actually diver. And if you think about the Apollo story, well, there was a watch involved, and if it wasn't for that watch, all the astronauts would not be back to land. So I would very much say that having a mechanical backup instrument that is well made and well conceived, it's something that, when talking about actual deep diving, can save your life. Let's go back to the watch. So once again, as I told you, to me it is an instrument, and it actually is a collectible because it was thought to solve different problems than usual. It has an actual function that is achieved mechanically, such as every other collectible watch in our industry, because in the end we must not forget that watches were meant to keep track of the time, which was an actual issue, a need, whatever you want to call it. So this timepiece here has the same philosophy as basically what created the watchmaking industry, but of course developed in a technological way that is advanced as per today. We're looking at a 48.5mm steel case with a 5 degrees inclination to see it better on your wrist. Of course the watch looks gigantic on my wrist. It's not a watch that you would maybe wear on your everyday journey, but of course on a diving suit, or if you have a big wrist, well, it's a distinguished timepiece, as you can see. Apart from being very legible, we do have a very little but with a luminous point second hand. We have a big and luminous minute hand, because that's the fundamental one when it comes to diving, and a small hour hand, because when you're out of the water you can read it easily, but you don't really need it underwater. But the two biggest innovations are two patents, are two registered technologies that are the twin safety bezel, which we'll explain now, well, the 3 crowns, which was not really included but it's very interesting, and the twin decompression dial. And that's where it gets very interesting. So let's start with the easiest, the 3 crowns. The crown at the center sets hours and minutes and so on. The crown on the left unlocks the twin bezel, and the crown on the right sets the dial. Why do I say set, and why is it a twin decompression dial? Because Mr. Bühlmann calculated the whole chart for decompression, finding 17 golden zones, which are diving profiles. A profile means a combination of aspects and factors, most importantly the depth and the time of the duration of the diving you're having. And if you can preview that, if you can know what you're gonna do during your diving, you can set your diving profile, and so you can calculate everything you need in the specific case, your decompression timeline. The twin safety bezel, on the other hand, is twin, so it's double because it allows you to calculate the time of your start of the depth and the whole decompression timing as well, which are set separately and in different directions in order not to get confused and not to mess it up, because of course we're talking about health here. And again, we also have a fly or no fly manually set dial, always with the crown between 2 and 1 o'clock. We also have an escape valve for a helium, a beautiful case back with the inscription and with 8 screws, which feels very marine and very solid. We do have a lot of legibility here with the little indices, very luminous on the other hand. And of course the strap we find on this watch is a rubber strap, as per every real diving watch. But we also have this system allowing us to have the watch always sitting comfortably on the wrist. As I said, it's a limited edition of 575 pieces, retailing for around 4,000 euros before VAT, because of the depth the watch can bear, or better, the 57.5 bar. So the measurement is the pressure, as I'm sure you know. With all that said, I don't want to over explain here, I don't want to overdo, also because already for me, being an engineer on one hand, a diver on another hand, and a watch collector and passionate and popularizer, they could say, it's very complicated for me to understand, as again, it's not really a watch, it's an actual tool. And to prove that, I brought the same instrument that is used to calculate the diving profiles, that you can see is pretty intricate and interesting. But you can really find a whole different world, universe and passion if you ever get one, because I'm sure it's a playful thing to learn and it's an incredible tool to use, because I never dived, but I had my kind of diving license, and that was basically the biggest topic we can possibly think of. So I'm very glad and enthusiastic about the fact that Bulman and WatchAngels put their minds and their effort into one of the most iconic, most popular problems, or at least thematic in diving, that no other watch has ever went through and has ever solved. Because this is what makes a watch special in my head. It's something that solves or keeps track of something in a mechanical way, and they absolutely did it in every aspect possible with kind of a perfect execution, because the watch is legible, it has presence, which underwater is kind of mandatory, it's very easy to use if you know the algorithm, of course, but once you have the theory, it's very practical and easy to use. The gas escape valve for helium helps you not to have your watch broken anytime. The twin bezel with the different setting is perfect not to get yourself mistaken while using it, and everything really is how it is supposed to be. Little side note, which is though fundamental, is the ergonomicity of the watch. Of course, it's not just a tool watch, it's a very comfortable companion also for an everyday use. It has the jointed lug and the overall case design that is concave as well, that makes it sitting very nicely on the wrist. Therefore, it's very easy to wear, plus the dial has a beautiful aquamarine blue sunray color that is, to me, really stunning. So, of course, a tool watch, but, you know, also a pretty cool everyday companion if you can pull it off. And this is not something usual. So once again, I'm very happy for what they did, and once again I'm proud, I have to say, but I'm very curious about what you do think about this. To me, already the name Bühlmann, with all the history behind that, is kind of a declaration of their intent, but also is a great way to pay tribute to somebody that really spent his life trying to innovate and do something for a passion of his. And the fact that this one turned out as an instrument side by side with a watch, because hours, minutes, and seconds are there, is something I feel we need more in the industry, because this is, to me, actually innovative. But once again, thank you so much for enjoying this video, I hope. Please leave a comment with your thoughts about the watch and about everything around it. Let me know if you did know about WatchAngels, Bulman, and the ZH-L16 algorithm, because to me it's very fascinating. Thanks again for watching. Subscribe on this channel, follow me on other social medias, follow Bulman and WatchAngels on their channels as well, and see you in the next video, hopefully underwater.